They called it a down year. They called it a year where the ACC was struggling, that they were only a two-bid league, and somehow, some way, we have found 4 out of the 5 ACC teams in the NCAA tournament in the Sweet 16. We talked through how the men held it down, minus Virginia, and more importantly, why the ACC just might have an even stronger showing after this weekend on today's episode of Locked on ACC.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Locked on ACC. I'm your host, Candace Cooper, joined by Kenton Gibbs of Locked on Wolfpack. Each and every day, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you download, subscribe to the pod from anywhere. We are 4 subscribers away from 2,000 on YouTube. Please do us a favor. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're in on the action because we talking cachet-ish around here for the next weekend. Are you feeling it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody say, well, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? I feel like talking to Joseph Lenardi. I feel like talking to all the bracket experts. I feel like talking some talk because the ACC is walking a walk. But we're going to get into that a little later.
Jimmy P, we're here to talk to you. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions do apply. All right, let's talk about today's episode and why it is just so great. We are nothing but smiles as the ACC is sending 4 of its 5 teams to the Sweet 16 after some very strong showings, some good battles, but ultimate victories for our remaining 4 teams. And would you like to get them one by one, or should we just go? Let's start with the junk first. What would you like to do?
I mean, listen, it's up to you. I'm going to let you pick who you want to go first because, I know that your alma mater is making a run and doing their thing as a 1 seed. I know that your rivals are doing it. Your other rivals are doing it. We got a lot of teams right now that are they putting something in that pot. They stirring a little something in that pot. I know them boys down in Clemson, South Carolina, they stirring a little something with BJ Hall and them. So I'll let you pick how you want to do it.
All right, well, let's kick it off with the number 1 seed. It was a great start of the weekend. Thursday, Friday matches. We won't go too much in there because we ended up with these great Saturday, Sunday ones. But North Carolina and Michigan State, a lot of junk talking between the two, but Michigan State forgot who they were dealing with, and Harrison Ingram just might be that guy, making several threes, 5 if you will, to help North Carolina ultimately come out with a victory. Honestly, getting that cursing-free speech from Hubert Davis. I don't know what he said in that little huddle, but he let them know that we're better than this. And there was a quick change of pace between Paxson, between RJ. You just felt a shift coming from that group. Seth Trimble having one of the best defensive performances he's had all season, beating Michigan State 85-69. And it is not Tom Izzo time in March. I don't know why we keep saying that, but I think we need to put that to bed. Every time they get up against North Carolina, they don't come away with the victory in the NCAA tournament.
Michigan State has proved themselves to be who they are at this point. Mm-hmm. I've talked about how high I am on Izzo and the fact that he's a legend. Legends that get passed by the game all the time. This is something that it's just not working out for Michigan State anymore. But we're not here to talk about Michigan State. We're here to talk about how UNC absolutely dominated. And you talk about Harrison Ingram. There are times where the quote-unquote other guys have to show up. And this was one of those times. Really, I wouldn't even say where he had to show up, but he did show up in a major way anyway. Because let's be honest, even if he wasn't rolling, this North Carolina team was head and shoulders better than Michigan State. Tom Izzo and them got whooped on so bad, Izzo put his son in the game. Now, whenever you see Izzo's son get in the game, either they are up 1,000 or they down 1,000 and waving the white flag. I'm just saying, listen, the boy was born to coach basketball. He wasn't born to play it.
Oh, my God.
Born to be on that court.
Well, speaking of guys ready to coach basketball, I think that Mr. Goldkey certainly has his opportunity sights set on him once he's done with all his NIL deals, because Oakland will find itself at home, Oakland and Detroit, rather, as NC State beat them 79-73. The Wolfpack Never count them out. Never feel like the game is over. When there was cardiac pack moments, DJ Burns mishandling the ball that he never does during the end of the game, making you have to say to yourself, how is it possible? But in overtime, the Pack felt like, listen, we don't need, any more energy. We found it. We playing with all heart. And that's exactly what the Pack did to get that 79-73 victory. So shout out to them.
Yeah, never back down, never what? Never give up, ladies and gentlemen. But in all seriousness, first of all, respect to Oakland and those guys played a phenomenal game. Goki did his best, and like Carla said, the ACC champion, NC State Wolfpack showed up, and they showed why they are that. Like you talk about a team that just would not be denied. You had foul trouble on Modiara, you had foul trouble on Middlebrooks, and yet and still, this team just fought and scrapped and clawed. And Jaden Taylor, who was much maligned and rightfully so early in the year, comes up with big buckets. DJ Horn, the team's leading scorer, gave precious little in this game. And yet you see Michael O'Connell stepping up and showing up and showing out in big time with another big bucket. I'll tell you, MOC is starting to stand for Mo Clutch, because that's what Michael O'Connell has been all throughout the ACC and now the NCAA tournament. They're moving forward. They got a tall task ahead of them, which we'll get to later.
1,000%. My biggest thing is just talk about DJ Burns and the type of play he has. Big body bends out there, sure. Yeah. But when I see him dribble and I see him get to the bat, he is literally shoving guys to get to the hoop. The hook shot, crazy, all the things. But, at some point, the extra help, they come in. Sometimes they steal, but most times they don't. But he's really just attacking against your will. You're going to have to really have that good chess game, that good block game if you want to beat him.
Yeah, and DJ Burns is a guy that he was the ACC tournament most valuable player for a reason. Mm-hmm. He is, the team goes as he goes. Let's be very honest about that. Let's be very clear about that. The reason NC State was so up and down all year is because he was up and down all year. Mm-hmm. Through this tournament, he normally plays 24 minutes a night. He played 42 against Oakland. That big fella was, I thought that we was about to break out the labyrinth because, hey, Lord, he tied. But he showed up and he showed out in overtime, and he took the game over when you would expect, again, a big body Benz like that, it needs some gas, need to refuel. That's 93 only type of truck. And yet he still, he found a way to outmuscle Oakland's smaller defenders, which, if you can't bother DJ with a lot of length, I'm sorry for you, because you're not going to beat him with just big guys and real thick fellas down there. It's not going to happen.
The body inclusivity girl in me is just loving between him, between Ollie Crooks, between Alyssa Peely from Utah. It's just Big shoulders are in. Hate to break it to everybody here, but it's certainly a thing. Now, a team that looked like a 1 seed, they was very dominant Duke Blue Devils, who I certainly thought were going to have maybe a test against a high energy James Madison, put them away handedly. 93-55 victory for the Blue Devils. That's probably the best they've looked all season, and not just because the shots were falling. That's probably the most fluid and fun I've seen that team all year. I was like, okay, damn, here they are. Duke is back. And as much as I was annoyed about Paolo Banchero's comments about Duke being an underdog and sliding through and could be one to watch, that game definitely showed me something.
Yeah, that game definitely was a wake-up call there, because you were thinking to yourself, who's going to be the Cinderella? Who's going to be the one, right? And then when you see Oakland get put out, your attention then goes to James Madison. It's, well, the Dukes have only lost, 3 games all season? This could be the team. This could be the one. And all of a sudden, Duke say, hey, take that out of here. Go somewhere else.
Right.
Go somewhere else. Go and get from around here, boy. Yeah, this ain't the time. And that's really, they showed up and showed out in a major way. And you talk about Jared McCain and who he is. Obviously, he's a young guy, but in the words of Beyonce, he may be young, but he's ready. He's going to show up and show out every single time he's called upon, and when you combine the young guys with experience like a Jeremy Roach, and I know that this shouldn't count as experience, but in today's game, Kyle Filipowski and a Proctor who've been there for a few years at this point in time, they've seen it. They've been there. They've done this deal before, so they're locked in. They're playing great basketball right now. Yeah. It's going to be tough to beat that Blue Devils team when they're rolling on all cylinders.
Mr. 2 days of college is definitely their X factor. If Jared's going, everybody's in trouble. I will certainly say that. Last team to hit on, Clemson beating Baylor in definitely one of the most hard attacking games I've seen, because the Tigers definitely tried to give it away back to the Baylor Bears, but ultimately came out victorious. And I just feel like this is the best FU game to me from the ACC, and we'll get into like why that matters and putting respect on it. But this was the best one, because as much as people talk about Clemson basketball and how they kind of fared throughout the year, PJ Hall even fouling out, I was very much grateful to see them pull this victory out.
Let me tell you something. Every win, especially in March, is like your team's baby.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I've never heard anybody say, my baby is ugly. My baby ain't worth nothing. It doesn't matter how you get it. It doesn't matter if you almost give it away. It doesn't care if you almost mess up the church's money. As long as you get to keep it, as long as that's your baby, you're going to be excited. That's how Clemson is looking at this one. That's a very good Baylor team. While I do think the Big 12 was overrated, and while I do think they gamed the system by playing the Island of Misfit Toys University Community College, I think that there are teams in that conference that are good. Baylor is one of them. You know what I mean? And so to see that Baylor competed in the way that they did, hey, they played a good ball game. But at the end of the day, Clemson, that was a team that, like you said, hard charging, refused to be denied in this one. They're not the sexiest team. They don't have a ton of people thinking about them in terms of, oh, they're America's darling, or, oh, they're the front runner. But they're a team that could sneak up on them.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Hunter, had a great performance. You look at Joe Girard, been in college 10 years. He might as well, be a sharpshooter to help them out. But I think overall, to your point, it was just really great to see from the Tigers. So let's talk, though, about this week's March Madness bracket highlight, brought to you by our friends at Nissan. Each week, we're picking one team that stands out, a team that's pushed us further than the rest. Just like any of our 2024 Nissan SUVs, these guys were able to take it to the next level. The North Carolina Tar Heels can only be described as an armada. The 1 seed is as hard as core as it gets, so it's no wonder why they secured a spot in the Sweet 16 this Thursday against Alabama. They will be facing off as a big one. They're the favorite picked by many to make a run in the championship. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big venture. Shop NissanUSA.com. We also know our friends at FanDuel love to get you in on some betting action. So if you have not yet taken your talents to FanDuel, make every moment more. Say goodbye to busted brackets, because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tourney. Whether you're betting on a big upset or 1 seed, it's time to go dancing in America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your $5 bet wins. That's $200 to use. Point spreads, money lines. You can even pick who's going to win it all. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and bet on college hoops until they cut down the nets. Now, Kenton, I have a confession.
Talk to me.
So there was this bet on FanDuel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like plus 20, plus 25, something like that for North Carolina, South Carolina game. And I said, it's giving sexy, right? Because it was a close game during the regular season. I was like, but I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch it because I just have a feeling, right? Mm-hmm. I have a feeling South Carolina might do their big one.
Yeah.
And the Lord knew on that day.
Yeah.
That was the best thing for me not to bet on that game, because I had never seen a very professional D1 powerhouse of a team get dog walked in that way. And that hurt my little heart.
Now, see, Candace always say, I'm the one going off script. We said we was going to save the women for tomorrow. We said we were going to save them for tomorrow. But Candace
I had to, because everybody saw that game. That's embarrassing. I ain't never been that embarrassed in my life. I ain't never been that embarrassed to be an alumna in my life.
But you know what?
And I've seen Carolina football. God almighty.
She said it, not me. She said it, not me. But with that being said, the beauty of that is, look at how the ACC women are performing as a whole. Yes. Deja Kelly and company, Usby and company, they got mollywop, right?
Who embarrassed more, North Carolina women or Virginia men? Go.
I would say I'd give us a razor-thin margin to Virginia men, because they didn't lose to a team that, South Carolina is so good right now. Nobody is saying, who's competing to win the national championship. Everybody's saying who's competing to come in second. Right. Who's competing to get whooped on by them either in the Final Four or the national championship? Who's going to get that title? Right. But, Virginia men, you lost to relative nobodies, and you couldn't score in a brothel with $1 million per player. I mean,
you couldn't even get to the 64. You couldn't even get into the tournament.
Yeah, they was hating outside the club. They couldn't even get in. I hate it for them.
Junk.
I hate it for them. And anybody who knows me knows I'm a Tony Bennett guy. I'm a Tony Bennett apologist.
You cut that out.
I'm a Tony Bennett apologist.
At this point, 4 out of the 5 understood the assignment. However, the 5th one didn't understand it by a long shot.
I'm going to tell you this, okay? As Maya Angelou once said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And Tony, I thought you was a champ.
Technically,
I thought you. No, Virginia, they just can't score no more, and the game is leaving them behind. That's what's happening. I mean, it's just where we're going with this thing. And as embarrassing and as unfortunate as it is, the hope for Virginia is the last time they got eliminated in the first round, what happened the next year? They went on to win it all.
But we've said that before.
I was just about to say, I believe they got put out in the first round last year as well by the Paladins. Yeah, by the Furman Paladins. And so this is supposed to be your year, Tony. So, the grace that we gave you, brother, we ain't – Candace nor I got up on that old rugged cross. Our grace has limits. That has limitations, brother. And you've lost the grace from Locked On ACC. I'm sorry. I know some Virginia fans are going to get in here and get upset. We love you. I told you y'all hit y'all Tony quota a long time ago with Tony Musket, Tony Benny, Tony Elliott, Tony Calandra. You got too many Tonys. That's the problem. You need to at least get rid of about 1 or 2 of them. And I'm telling you, Tony Bennett, you better watch out, brother, because you can't keep doing this. You can't keep doing this, man.
100%. But for those who didn't understand the assignment, there was a lot of hoopla all season about being a 2-bid league and how Duke and Clemson may have hurt each other and might now be out of the tournament because of it. And just to me, it's a whole bunch of noise. You heard Coach Forbes talk about how he's proud of the guys, but also sitting on the outside looking in, doesn't want to be a bubble team. And what can we ensure for next year? Like beyond just showing it on the hardwood. To me, it clearly is going to need more than that. Who do they need to hire? Like, is Jay Williams not going hard enough talking about them? Is Greenberg not going hard enough talking about them? Like, the advocacy for the ACC seems to be the piece that's missing.
The advocacy and the national mouthpieces, why let facts get in the way of a good narrative, right? Sure. Why? That's what they're doing time and time again. And I keep saying, whatever metric you're using, I'm not the type of person that says, hey, I have a conclusion that I believe and the data will support that conclusion. No. I'm the type of person that believes let the data speak and that will draw out the conclusion. Mm-hmm. If we look at the data from who wins when it matters, it's the ACC time after time after time. Mm-hmm. And the last time we heard the ACC was down and terrible, we saw Coach K on his last ride going up against young upstart Hubie Davis in the Final Four. This time, the year after that, we heard, oh my God, the ACC's down again, and somehow Isaiah Wong and company willed their way on into the Final Four.
Come on.
And then we go forward to this year. The ACC so down, NC State won a championship. Ha, ha, ha. All of a sudden, 1/4 of every team in the Sweet 16 belongs to what conference?
The ACC.
Oh, well, that's interesting. It's interesting that you would say that. So it seems to me that if the metrics keep telling you that this conference that is kicking ass and taking names in the tournament is bad, maybe we redefine the metrics. Maybe we find a new way to have criteria for who is and is not, because the rest of these conferences are not looking up to snuff.
Yeah. Except
for the Pac-12, which will not exist this time next year. With all due respect. Love the conference. Yeah. Love that conference down. Who didn't love some Pac-12 after dark? You watching football in the middle of the night, Colorado State at 1:30 in the morning. Who didn't love it?
Right.
But that conference won't exist. So of all the conferences that are left, the Big 12 need to get bailed out many a times and couldn't get bailed out against certain teams. And now they almost everybody's gone. The Big 10, they doing all right, but they also had a little bit of embarrassment. The SEC, don't even get me started. Greg Sankey looking crazy. Well, it's getting so competitive that we don't know if we should be giving the seeds to these lower ranking teams. How'd Auburn fare? How'd Auburn fare against those nerds from Yale?
Come on.
No. Not Auburn against Yale. Kentucky. Oh, Rob Dillingham. You stole him from NC State, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Coach Cal's the guy. Wait, why do I want to fire Cal? Why am I screaming fire Cal? No. This is the SEC. It just means more, doesn't it, Greg? Gregory? I'm going to call you Gregory. Your mama named you Gregory. I'm going to call you Gregory. Gregory, doesn't it just mean more? It didn't seem like it mean more to Auburn or Kentucky or many of the other schools. So, all I'm saying is this. To me, it is very clear. And Jim Phillips, if you can hear my voice, make a damn Twitter or X or whatever they call it these days.
Something. Make an appearance.
And start talking your talk. Because Greg Sankey, he going to talk his talk, justified or not. He going to get on ESPN and talk his talk. He going to get on Paul Feinbaum talk his talk. He going to get on the internet talk his talk. You ain't going to get him to shut up.
Call into a local radio show. You can come on our show. Why are you not visible? You should be saying something. After 4 of the 5 teams that you got into this bad boy are in it, you're not even going to be on the voice, making a phone call like voice of Jim Phillips or incoming call. You can't be on ACC PM. You can't be on we have a whole network.
I don't know if you saw Creed 3 or not, but the way that the antagonist that was played by Jonathan Majors called in to Stephen A. and said, I'm calling him out on air. If I was Jim Phillips, I would have been calling in myself. Call in right now. Get Unc on the phone. That's what they call Shannon Sharp, right? Get Unc and Stephen A. We need to talk our talk. We need to talk.
I know we need to take a break from these football lawsuits, but if you had a moment to spare, I would love to let you know that we still are very much a basketball conference. Stop playing with us, men and women. So stop playing with us.
Hello, big ACC, never the little one, the little one.
Period.
And so, Jim. Matter of fact, Jim, if you can hear my voice right now, you got an open invite to Locked On ACC, brother.
You do.
You got an open invite. If you want to send a representative to come talk to us, they got an open invite. We want somebody from your office to be as loud and as outspoken as these other conferences, because the only time we hear from you is when we're taking it to court. No, these boys on the court are doing great things. Forget in the court. We own the court. We own the hardwood.
We only hear from Jim 2 times a year. That's at ACC kickoff for football and ACC tip-off. It's the only time you hear Jim talk for more than 5 minutes, okay? And I think that is very problematic. I think he sometimes makes appearances during the season. You see him at football games that he attends, and he might get on the mic, but it's not good enough for me. Sufficing.
Jim Phillips, 2 occasions only works for the deal. Everybody else, we need to know that you're thinking of us on more than 2 occasions. And even with them, it was day and night. You understand? That's all the time, brother. So, Jim, we need to get you out here. But even more than Jim, we gonna get to one more, because Mr. Lenardi, you was coming after my former AD real hard there. You was screaming at Debbie Yao through that screen real tough on the internet. Where you at, old Joey?
I'm just trying to say. My last thing on Jim Phillips will be, though, you love to write a statement. You could write a statement faster than anybody I know, because when Florida State wasn't in that damn championship playoff, you knew how to conjure up a statement because you knew it was coming. I feel like that was pre-written, but I ain't going to hold you. But I will say, we're going to need a little bit more from you if you kindly could oblige us. Now, let's talk about real quick our friends at LinkedIn. When you're hiring for small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for your role. That's why you check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn Jobs isn't just a job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of 1 billion professionals, which makes the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy. In fact, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions do apply. Ending it here, right? It ain't just about Jimmy because he's struggling. But this one has been all about basketball for a minute. Joe Lunardi, I ain't seen you tweet in a minute because had the ACC been eliminated, all 5 of us, firing off. The Twitter fingers would have been hot. See, that's why y'all should listen to me and Kim Pong. All of that. Cool, cute. But I ain't heard a mumbling word from you, Mr. Joey. Mr. Lunardi. Come outside. We ain't going to jump you.
We ain't going to jump you,
Stand on business. You and John Rothstein. Stand on business, Bookie. Why ain't y'all got nothing to say now, Seth Davis? I want to hear it.
Come on.
You know how to get hype for Duke, but you can't get hype for nobody else. I'm confused.
It's getting real quiet. Ain't it getting real quiet?
It's crickets. I don't like that.
I just think it's so interesting. Don't you find it interesting, Candace, how, it's almost like when people say the ACC get the redhead stepchild treatment, this is what we mean. Because you want to highlight our failures. You want to highlight every bad loss. You want to highlight every team that has a bad resume. Oh, Pitt didn't deserve. For you to quote tweet Pitt's actual men's basketball page and tell the world, oh, well, they forgot there's non-conference strength of schedule in there. Why you ain't do that to Coach Kyle in Kentucky?
Come on.
Why didn't you tell the world how bad Kentucky looked? Why didn't you do that to anybody else? Auburn. What didn't you talk about? And I know Zach Blackerby is the manager of all the college channels. I know I'm going to get a call from Zach. I don't care nothing about it. Okay? War Eagle, my behind, them boys got beat up on by some nerds. Some mega nerds. I mean, Ivy League nerds, okay? You understand me? So I just want to know. Okay?
I just want to know if you're playing me. Keep it on the low. Because my heart can't take it.
No. I need you to be front and center right now. I don't want to hear nothing on the low. I want to hear everything. Come on with the come on. Yeah. I'm gonna leave it right here, okay? Where I'm from, everybody love to say, I ain't scared of nothing. I ain't scared. Well, the SEC didn't appear to be scared because Greg Sankey was not scared to talk his talk. And my mama always gave me a phrase. Whenever I said, Mom, no, I ain't scared. There's 5 boys out there. I'll take them all. My mama said, you ain't got to be scared to catch a behind whooping. The SEC wasn't scared. Sankey was feeling himself. He was talking his chest got big. He said, all my teams in this tournament, we should stop giving the Oaklands of the world these automatic bids. Stop giving Yale automatic bids. And look what them boys did. They came out and spanked them babies, put them right to sleep. And yet, Joe Lunardi's nowhere to be seen. Joseph.
Come to the front, Mookie. Come to the front. Come to the front of the carpet. I just want to talk to you.
Just want to talk. We just want to have a conversation. Stop talking. WBI retired. Me and Candace still active. Come on, Joe. We said Greg Sankey got an invite to the show. Mr. Lunardi, Joseph, you got an invite as well, brother.
Absolutely do. I'm convinced that it was a girl from Wake Forest that broke his heart, and he vowed to never say anything nice.
Now, they say USC got the prettiest girl, so it was probably either there or Miami. It was probably there or Miami. Them Miami women. We're not going to go there right now.
I don't think Miami was in the ACC when he was back then.
That's true. But they're in the ACC now. So I don't know what Joe Lunardi beef is. I don't know who did it or why. I don't know if it was somebody up in Blacksburg. I don't know what they did to you. But what I do know is that at the end of the day, these teams have proven it year in and year out.
Right.
And in the words of LeBron James, it's about time that I get my damn respect too.
In the words of Birdman, put some respect on my name.
All true, y'all.
I ain't gonna say it no more. Well, we end with that by saying the women honestly have more junk to talk than the men. But we gonna hold it for tomorrow. We want y'all to
Summer walking through that door. She ain't walking into the old bar. Candace Parker ain't walking into the old bar. But we gonna hold it. Because Candace like to tell me I like to go off script a lot. So we gonna hold it. And we gonna see y'all beautiful folks tomorrow.
See you tomorrow as we talk about the Sweet 16 for the women's side. And we'll make sure that we allow kids to go off script because he loves the women's basketball game. And he truly is one of the best supporters of it. So we'll let him run point on that. Make sure y'all check out, again, our YouTube page, 4 subs way from 2,000 subscribers. I need it for many reasons, but more important than that, because we truly love interacting with y'all. We always love when you talk to us because we certainly talk back. For Candace Cooper and Kenton Gibbs, until next time.